We have got to teach our leaders that it is not weakness to engage with your teams. It is not weakness to show humanity and to show that you care. People want to know that you care, that they breathe. Just saying good morning when you come into the office, I can't tell you how far that goes.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Perpetual mOetion podcast, where curiosity meets career excellence. I'm your host, Dr. Mo Anderson, and I invite you to join me on a journey of personal growth. We dive into inspiring and often hilarious conversations with global experts in each weekly episode, from communication mastery to career progression to self-care. We've got you covered. Listen, have you heard of micro coaching? Me neither. And I am a coach who talks to coaches every week. It's an interesting concept industry introduced to me by today's guest, Mandee Bowsmith. Mandee is an experienced HR professional with over 2 decades in the field of human resources. Now she helps government agencies and clients enhance their HR practices through creativity, innovation, and technology. If you're in leadership in the workplace or at home, join us today for actionable insights on communication, conflict resolution, and team building. I'm so for it. Let's go. Welcome, Mandee.
Hello, Dr. Mo. How are you doing today?
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. It's toasty here in Texas. You're frying over there in Nevada. We're both on the hot seat, so let's do something positive with that.
All right.
Let's start just with a little bit about you. What led you to go into human resources, and why have you remained in that industry all these years?
Do you know, it's funny, actually. I have a firm belief that most people don't aim to go into human resources. It's usually something that people end up in somehow. And that's true for me. I actually wanted to be a rock star, but that didn't quite work out for me.
It's too late.
Well, you know, if this consulting gig doesn't work for me, I'll try that.
Okay, back up.
I started my career in government service and human resources as a temporary file clerk in the workers' compensation section of the city of Las Vegas, and worked my way up. And one day I was sitting, and it was 15 years later, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have a retirement, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I've learned so much about HR. I think I have a career. Oh my gosh. And I really love helping people. I always have loved helping people. And I like being the person that people come to get answers. And HR is a lot about that. And so I continued in that career, was able to become the director of human resources at the city of Reno, and then was able to lead the state of Nevada as the top human resources person there. And recently decided to make a change and opened my own consulting and coaching firm here in Reno, Nevada.
Congratulations. I'm glad I asked that question. That's an interesting journey. And, my next question wasn't prepared like the others, but as you were talking, I kind of thought about, I was in private practice much of my life, but the past 12, 13 years, I've been in corporate healthcare. I'm a dentist and work in insurance now. But every HR person I've encountered who's the lead, the VP, the director, or whatever, is always a female. Is that a female dominated industry like nursing, say, or
it is?
And if so, why is that?
It is a female dominated discipline. I speculate, but my assumption is that females typically tend to be more empathetic with employees who come and have issues that they bring to HR. But also, females tend to be more relationship oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, at least in my experience, and I think that that's something you need the ability to form relationships. You need the ability to build rapport with the employees that you're working with. And in my experience, the folks that do that are typically females. But I will tell you that I worked with some rock star male recruiters who had come out of the military, and they were focused on recruiting veterans into state service. And they were rock stars because they knew how to translate military service into what we know in the civilian world, that experience and stuff. And they hit it out of the park, everything they did. So it really is, it's one of those disciplines that people don't really think about until they need it. And most people are not, like I said, people don't usually go into HR. They don't go to school to go to HR typically. They end up in HR in some way. Yeah.
Okay. Now that we're on HR, I got one more thing I was telling a friend about this upcoming episode because I was so excited after our pre-call, and I was like, 100 plus episodes. I haven't talked with anyone from your discipline. And thank you for giving me the word. I kept saying industry when I was playing around. I was like, that's not what it is, but I don't even know how to Google the word I want. So thank you for giving me that word, discipline.
Sure.
And, she was saying that, and she's in, corporate. She's worked for 2 or 3 Fortune 500 companies, and she had a really bad experience, at one, racism, sexism, quid pro quo, a lot of things that she felt like occurred. And she went to HR first before going to an attorney. And she came away feeling like HR is just about protecting the company. It's not really for the employee. And she's not the only one who I've heard say that, even though we're told go to HR first, So share with me a little bit more about that from your side.
It's, I have to tell you that it bums me out when I hear stories like that, but I hear them a lot. And so what that means to me is that whether earned or whether it's a perception, people have a sense that human resources is not there to help employees. That it is there to further management's whims, whatever management wants to do. It's my philosophy, and the way that I ran my HR groups was we are the only true internal service department that an organization has. And our job is to help the employees we have. So that if you're an employee and you come to me, Dr. Mo, and you say, Mandee, gosh, I am so distracted because I'm worried about my group health insurance. I'm worried about this thing. I don't understand the copay structure. I don't understand how this works. Can you help me with that? I'm going to say absolutely. And I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to have that conversation so that that eases your mind, right? And then you go back and do the job you were hired to do. You're not stressed out. You're not worried about that thing with the copay because now you know. That's what HR is supposed to do. We are supposed to build people up. We are supposed to give training. We're supposed to help people take advantage of opportunities that are there for them in their organizations. The problem is, over the last 50 years, human resources we've become sort of the thugs, if you will, of an organization because we have leaders, and this ties into my leadership philosophy. There are leaders who are conflict averse. There are leaders who also have not been trained on how to handle conflict, how to handle employees that they're having trouble with, how to have a constructive conversation with an employee about their performance. So instead of learning that, they just send you to human resources and they give human resources a fraction of the story of that employee about what's happening. And then HR is supposed to pick up the ball and handle whatever it is, whether it's discipline, whether it's, moving that employee out of that team into another team, whether it's termination, whatever. And so HR professionals end up getting this horrible rap that we're sort of the enforcers. And that's one of the things that I want to change, Dr. Mo. I want to put the human back in human resources.
Hello. Yay.
Right? Like we have got to stop looking at employees in an organization are that organization's greatest asset. There is no other asset bigger than your human capital.
Applause from the gallery. Yes, ma'am. Preach.
Right? And to treat employees as though they are just cogs in a machine.
Right.
That's how we got here, right? In most organizations.
They almost make you feel disposable in some companies. You don't matter no matter how long you've been here.
It doesn't
how much
matter.
You've done. You don't matter. I don't need you anymore.
That's right. And that, to me, yes, that's a flaw in human resources. We've got to put the human back in human resources, but we've also got to put humanity in leadership. We have got to teach our leaders that it is not weakness to engage with your teams. It is not weakness to show humanity and to show that you care. People want to know that you care, that they breathe. Just saying good morning when you come into the office. I can't tell you how far that goes. Just, saying to them, hey, Dr. Mo, how's your family doing? I understand you have a granddaughter, a new granddaughter. My goodness, I hope everything's going well. A leader acknowledging that there's something human about their employees, that employee is going to go, my boss knows who I am and knows I have a new granddaughter. Wow, they must really care. That is going to engender the best performance from that employee that they can give you. Right? Employees will follow leaders off a cliff if they know that leader cares.
Right.
So, yes, there are HR departments that run in the way that your friend felt she was being handled. And I think that's folly. During my government career, I tried to change both HR and organizational leadership culture from the inside. And now that I'm on the outside of it, I'm trying to change it from the outside. Because I truly believe, especially in government, where we are set up to help our citizens, we're set up to help the people of the states we're in, the country we're in, it is incumbent upon us, not only as HR professionals, but as civil servants, to do the best job we can do. And that job has to be done with humanity.
Had to throw a little cheer in there. With humanity. You are walking and talking the talk. We need to hear more of this because, I've only had one incident with HR, and I love what you're saying because I went into the meeting, I tried to approach my VP and immediately, he kicks it to HR. And by the time I went into the meeting, it was obvious to me there had been a lot of conversations with legal and HR and everybody else without even hearing my side. It was clear they had already made up their mind what had happened. And I'm a documentation person, which will be my tip for y'all today. If you feel like you're being treated unfairly or there are issues, even with your insurance, have your documentation together. So by the time I laid it all out, it was a clear path to a very different conclusion. And they had egg all over their face because, you can't just listen to, it's like a court. You can't just listen to one side and go, oh, this is a terrible person or they clearly did this or whatever. And, just bag that thing up and hold on the judgment.
You're absolutely
even professionals can make that mistake.
You're absolutely right. Documentation is, it's a pain in the tuchus, but it helps when you have to explain what happened when somebody calls you on the carpet. If you have documentation of what you've done and why you've done it, that's absolutely the way that you combat that kind of thing.
Exactly. And I can say there was another case more recently. I'm getting all off topic, but whatever. And this is for the documentation. I felt some kind of way. And as I was preparing my documentation to prove my point, I realized I was totally wrong. Things weren't in balance. We were just very busy. And as I looked at what everyone else was doing and their duties and all of that, I was like, okay, I don't really have an argument here because this is just a busy time and it's happening to everybody. So that's the other thing it can do is kind of calm you down because we get caught up in us. And there is a big picture and there is a common goal. And sometimes you just have to do a little more other duties as assigned or whatever to, reach the goal. And I think that's where leadership comes in, is communicating that so that you're not in this silo thinking, oh my God, I'm working 24/7 and, why am I doing this? Nobody else is doing this. And that's because they haven't shared the vision, haven't shared what we're trying to do and why we're doing this, and just pushing stuff at you. And people need, especially professional people in whatever area, they need to know what's going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, you hit on two things. A good leader, even a decent leader, right?
Decent.
Is somebody who communicates clearly their vision for the team, their vision for where they're going. And if your leader can't articulate that, if you've asked them over and over to articulate hey, what's your vision here? Because I want to help. If they can't give you that information, that's a problem, right?
Yes.
That's a problem leader. That's also a sign of maybe the team has problems, because if you don't have a clear idea of where that team is going or what they're doing, that's an issue. The other thing I found, and this is, I'll share a little story. I was told, by one of my bosses that I was going to inherit an employee. And I was told that this is a problem employee. So the first thing that comes to my mind as an HR person is, well, if they're a problem employee, why are you shuffling them around? Why aren't you progressively disciplining them out of the organization? Right? So, but for whatever, I didn't get any information. I got no background. All I got was, this is a problem employee and you're getting her. Okay, sure. So she comes, very nice woman, and I immediately recognized that she is in some way neurodivergent, because I also am neurodivergent. I have attention deficit disorder, and it's something that I struggle with as an executive, right? So I immediately noticed that this woman has some challenges. Okay. And one of the things that I did when I took over the department was I met with every person that reported to me, because I came on during COVID. I hadn't met some of these people in person. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know how they fit into the puzzle that we were all working on. So I sat down and I met with her, and I asked her what was going on. And I asked her what happened in her previous department. And, and she told me a story about really poor leadership and aggressive leadership towards her, trying to make her into something she was not. And then this turned into sort of a harassment situation, in my opinion, where that leader would be waiting for her by the water cooler every morning when she went to get her, bottle of water, and ask her probing questions about, are you happy today? Are you going to do your best today? Are not even helpful, uplifting things, but just, it was a harassment situation. And I said to her, I said, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but let me ask you, what are you good at? What lights you up? What kinds of work or projects light you up? And she said, Mandee, I love data. I know, right? I said the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm happy there are people who love data.
Right.
I like
need
to be
those people
informed. I like it aggregated.
Right. We need the data people so that we don't have to, right? She said, I love data. I love it. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I need a data person. I need somebody to crunch the numbers about our performance indicators, about, our performance measurement. Are we hitting the marks that we need to? So I would like to assign that to you. So she took off running, and she would come in every once in a while and say, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All that employee needed, and she excelled working for me. All that she needed was somebody to listen to her and to say, what are you good at? What do you like to do?
What a
Let's
great
see if we can
question.
find a place for you. And when I left that job, she sent me a text message that was so sweet. She said, Mandee, you literally changed my life. I've decided I want to go in this direction. And it was because of the conversation we had, because you listened to me and because you believed in me. 9 times out of 10, when you have a problem employee or somebody you perceive as a problem employee, something's going on with them, right? And I'm not saying that we need to pry into people's personal lives or whatever, but sometimes people just need to be listened to, and in that situation, I listened to her and she became a stellar employee working for me.
That's awesome.
And I think that's the difference. I'm not touting myself as an amazing leader, but that's the difference between my leadership style and the one she came from. I wanted to know who she was and what her strengths were. The other person wanted to make her into something she was never going to become.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about humanity in both leadership and in human resources. You have got to work with the human. They're not robots. They're not machines. They are humans with thoughts and feelings and skills and talents. And they have the same worries that you do. They have money worries. They have family worries. They have health worries. They
caregiver.
have,
a lot
exactly,
of us are
caregiver worries, and to think like we have such hubris, right? To think that we're the only people experiencing some level of pain or something that's going like that we can't translate that into our employees and give them a little grace and a little care. You know what I mean? Like that is where the American mythos of what a leader is completely wrong. We don't need stoic old men running a company. We need people who recognize their greatest asset and continually develop those assets.